Alright guys, so first thing you want to do when you're preparing to install the fog lights, I do already have the factory fog lights, which you can see right there, and I'm obviously replacing these with the Diode Dynamics SS3 fog lights. So you're going to, and I'm doing this on the driver's side, so you're going to want to turn the wheel in. If you're on the passenger side, of course, and you turn the wheel the other way, because what we need access to is right in here. And as you can see, there's a screw here, and if I can get in here enough, so right here, I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but there's a body clip. There's going to be another one right here. Try and, I guess, can't really get in there enough, but hopefully you guys can kind of see that location. Then we're going to remove this screw right here as well. And then there's going to be two underneath here. And let me see if I can get underneath, show you guys where those two are. There's one here, another one here. You don't need to remove all of them, just those outer two. Tools that you'll need. It's going to be, you don't have to have a 10mm socket, but I prefer using a 10mm as opposed to a Phillips head in here. You will still need a Phillips head once we get into the fog light. And then you can use a flathead screwdriver. This is actually a body panel, a body clip removal tool. I have two different kinds just because sometimes it makes it easier. Again, you can use a flathead screwdriver, but if you're going to be doing a lot of work on your vehicle, I'd recommend picking up some body clip or body panel removal tools. All right, so let me set the tripod up and we'll remove these screws. All right, so we're going to start with this one right here. And obviously you don't want to lose these. If you're not familiar with removing screws and taking things apart, you probably want to just put these in maybe bags or put them on a piece of paper, label it, or take a picture of it so you know which order they come out. Because this one, as you can see, is pretty long. And so we'll take out the next one, which is going to be a shorter screw. Let me angle this up so you guys can see. Pull it up a little bit more. So we're going to remove this right here. As you can see, this one is much shorter. Now we'll pop those couple of body clips out. That's all it looks like right there. Hopefully you guys can see that okay. I'm going to do the second one that's, you'll see it right here. You can kind of see that where that screw was, so it's going to be right there. All right, then we're just going to take those two on the bottom out. And you won't really be able to see that. So once that's all those screws and body clips are out, you're just gonna pull this, and then this fender liner right here, we're just gonna sorry, I'm trying to do this where you guys can get a decent view. It's not hard. All right, maybe that'll be a little bit better. All right, and as you can see, that's just gonna pull away. There's a little flap. See if hopefully you guys can see that. Little flap right here. You're just gonna pull that back and just continue to kind of push the fender liner out. You can see, obviously, a lot of bugs. I'm in Texas, and we've had a lot of butterflies this season. All right, guys, and I'm gonna get this up here, and you guys can hopefully see that. That is the, there we go. That's the fog light right there. There's gonna be 2 screws to take that out. And let's see if I can do this with one hand. See if maybe I can aim this up. All right, so I'll highlight this in the video, but there's one Phillips head screw there. There's going to be one on the other side, and that one is usually easier to get to from the top. And your connector right there. So we're just going to push down. See if I can figure out how to set the tripod up. All right, guys, so hopefully you guys will be able to see this. See if I can get in there enough. All right, so the connector right here, you're just gonna push on that bottom part, and that'll release it. Just unplug that, then take those 2 screws out. Trying to get a good shot for you guys. And once those 2 screws are out, the whole fog light will just pull out. And that's the first Phillips head. And I'll try and show you guys the location of the second one. All right, guys, so the hood is open, and we're going from the top part of the engine bay. And that's gonna be it right there. Again, I will try to highlight that in the video. Let me see if I can maybe get that to focus a little bit better. I guess that's about as good as it's getting, but that screw is the one that you have to undo, and then the whole fog light will just pop out. All right, guys, so now that the stock fog light is out, I did want to point out, so this is the orientation, so it sits in like that. And so the screw that was easily visible is this one. The other one's going to be this top one. This right here, there is a small tab and a wire harness that pokes into. All right, so this is looking at it from the front. And this right here is what that tab and the fog light slides into. So it's pretty easy. But if you feel a little resistance, just know that you have to pull it away from that tab. All right, guys, so now that the driver's side fog light is out, and again, this is the orientation, so we're going to get the diode dynamics, and of course you want to make sure that the angle, again, this is facing down, and the connector on the diode dynamics right here will also face down. So when they're both oriented correctly, you can see the slant is the same, so just something to pay attention to. And the bracket that comes with the diode dynamics, these are labeled, and let me see if I can show you where this one has the all right, so it's actually I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but right here on this tab, sorry, right there, it'll actually say left hand, or it'll say right hand, and obviously we're doing the driver's side, so that is left hand. And you can see, you know, that it's pretty much the same way. So again, you'll just want to pay attention to that when you're doing the install. So you'll need those 2 items, and then you'll have 2 of these bags, 1 for each side. So we're gonna take the screws and washers out. I guess those are okay. Alright, so these nuts do have a nylon insert. That way the screws don't come loose, and they're just going to slip in right here. So I'll put it this way because this is going to face the bottom. I face the nylon insert part towards the inside, and these will just slip in. All right. And that'll go in. You may have to turn it a little bit so it drops down. You're going to want to have your washer set onto your screw here. And again, so, and you'll see it when you're looking at it, it'll have the writing on there. Again, it says left hand, so that'll be facing up. And then that's just going to slide down like that. And just going to put this in, tighten it up a little bit. So these are the adjustments for the, and I'll show you, sorry, these are the adjustments here. And you can see that there's a slot, so you do have a little bit of room to move back and forth. So that's going to give you a little bit of left to right adjustment, and also the slight bit of up and down adjustment. So you do not want to tighten these yet. You want to put them in and just snug them up a little bit, but again, you do not want to have them tight because you are going to have to aim these. Diode Dynamics does include a set of instructions. It's pretty helpful. They'll give you some tips on how to aim the lights. And obviously I'm going to have to wait till a little bit later on when it starts to get dark. Once I do that, though, I'll continue the video with that. And this is an Allen wrench. I'm using a Torx bit. And I'm just going to snug that down a little bit. But as you can see, I still have room to move it. Then I can also do the forward or slight left to right adjustment if I need to. All right, so now that that's done, again, you're just going to want to check, right? Again, that's going towards the bottom. Make sure everything looks the same. Then we'll go up front and we're going to install this. All right, guys, so one thing I did want to mention also is, so here's the harness, and it actually comes with 2. And at least mine came with 2 because I did order the ones with the backlighting. So you can see this one here only has 2 pins, and this one here has 4 pins. So the 4 pins would be for the one that has the backlighting. If your lights did not come with the backlighting, then you would just use the ones with the 2 pins. And that's obviously pretty easy to see because if you look in there, right here where the connector is, you can see it's got the 4 pins. What I would use is just a little bit, just a very small dab of dish soap right around this orange part on the outside, not on the top, just around the outside. It'll help it slip into that into the light a lot easier because it is a very tight fit. It's definitely what you want to keep it waterproof, keep all the moisture out. And so it's gonna, obviously it is keyed, so that part goes down. You're just gonna want to push that in. You'll hear it click or you'll feel it. Make sure I'm getting that. All right. I know it probably didn't sound like it clicked, but I could definitely feel it. All right. The other part of this harness, which is going to be this top piece, that will plug into your light that you disconnected from the factory fog light. That part is not actually keyed, so when you first connect it, before you push it in all the way or get too far into it with the wiring, make sure you test it out, make sure your fog lights come on. If they don't, you can just flip the connection. Again, it can go in either way. And then they give you this wire right here, and that's going to be for the backlighting. I think I'm probably going to tap that off of one of the marker lights, so I'll show the install on that as well. Put this back in. Again, the connector's facing down so you have the correct orientation. I'm just going to slide this in here. See if I can adjust that. And remember, the bottom tab is going to slide into that where the wiring harness is. And there's a pretty easy way to do it. If you come around to the front, let's see. Hopefully you guys can see where that tab is. Right there. All right. So we're just going to insert that in and line everything else up. And there we go. And then you're just going to put those two screws back in. Let's see if I can get a good view. Not really. All right, but that's okay. All right. Well, I'll get those screws in and then we'll take a look at it. All right, guys. So once the light's bolted in, and hopefully you guys can see that. Try and get that to focus a little bit. All right. So there it is. And then this wire, which is for the backlighting, you can just basically run that up. Since it is open up top, you can just feed it through a little bit and then go and grab it from the top, which we'll do right now. All right, so here we are at where the hood is, and hopefully you guys can see the light there. And I basically just put the wire on top, so we're just going to reach down and grab that. See if I can get you guys a better view. There you go, and you can see that connector right there. That's got the red tip on it. Sorry, it won't focus. I guess I'm a little too close. There we go. So I'm just going to reach in and grab that, pull that through. And that's going to be for the backlighting of the fog light. Alright, and as you can see, that's plenty of wire. I mean, it basically reaches all the way across to the other side. And like I said, I plan on tapping into the light. Here's the front of the vehicle. And so we're looking at this amber part right in here. And basically you're just going to come up over top. if I can get a good view of this for you. All right. And you guys can see that little piece of gray plastic right there. And this is what we're looking at right down in there. All right. So when you reach in right here, hopefully you guys can see that okay. You're just going to twist this. And it just twists, and then you're just going to pull it out. Don't touch the bulb. And that's it right there. All right, so you would remove this, pull it out, pull that bulb out, and that's where we're going to tap the wire. Hey guys, so I've got my ground connected, and let's see, I don't know if you guys can, let me try and point to it over here. Yeah. All right, so that's where I connected my ground, right here. And then just to make sure everything's working, I'm just going to touch that. And hopefully you guys can see that red light right here in the handle. That's lighting up. And so that's how we're going to test this. Let me go turn the lights on, and we'll come right back and do this. Alright guys, so right now I've got my turn signal on. And so we're going to get the socket here. And one of these is going to be ground, one of these is going to be for the parking light, and one's going to be for the turn signal. So let's see how I can do this. So we're going to test this first. And we got nothing, so hopefully that's ground. And you can see when we touch this, you guys can see that the light's on, which means that's the actual parking light. So this one, once we touch it, it should start flashing. And it does. So that shows that that's a turn signal. So this bottom one here, right there, this one, looks like kind of a purple and black. That's what we're going to tap off of. Now I'm going to show you guys how to do that. One moment. Alright. So if you ordered the lights, obviously with the backlighting feature, so Diode Dynamics included this right here. They included a few of these. And basically what this is that's a tap for the light. So this part here, you're just going to press that over on that bottom part right there. Because that's the one that we want. So we're just going to separate that a little bit so we have enough room to get in here. And all right, so we're just going to snap this over just like that. All right guys, so again we're going to make sure that wire is sitting in that groove right there, and close that down, and we're just going to use the pliers to close it. I really should have grabbed a better pair of pliers. There we go. Alright, so you can see now that that's closed. Then you're going to have that opening right there. And on the wire that's coming off of the so that's for the backlighting. And that's just going to plug right in right there. So I'm going to go ahead and make that connection, and then we're going to take a look and make sure that it's functioning. Alright, so here we go. And then we're just going to plug this in. Just like that. And turn the light on. Alright. So you guys can see, of course, that this light's on. I'll have to put the bulb back in, but you can see our backlighting is in fact on. So that's, I think, going to look really nice. And we'll plug the bulb back in, make sure everything's good, and I'll show you guys the results once we're done with the other side as well. So this extra wire, and they give you a lot of wire, right? You can just zip tie that, you know, or use the wire tie. You know, you don't want it just dangling around, so, you know, connect it someplace out of the way just to tidy it up. Alright guys, and you can see that the parking lights are on, and both fog lights, the backlighting is on. I did want to note that the wire for the passenger side that we tapped off of it was not the same color coding as on the driver's side, but it's same procedure. Just pull the bulb, touch the terminals to determine which one is your hot wire, double check everything, and that pretty much wraps everything up other than the aiming of the lights. And you know, Diode Dynamics provides some pretty good instructions with that. When I go to aim these, I'll kind of walk you through that as well, and then that pretty much wraps it up. You can see it was a pretty easy install. Just takes a little bit of time. You know, if you start to get frustrated, like with anything, you know, just walk away from it and then come back to it. And but you know, like I said, it's an easy install, and I think you guys will be happy with the results. And I'll you know, do a little bit of testing once it's dark out and show you guys the results of that as well. Thanks for watching.